instead of the next generation. And I'm here to tell you, Ottumwa, we cannot afford that kind of politics. We cannot go back to that kind of economy. We've got to rebuild a new foundation for our future. We need to extend opportunity to every corner of Main Street so that young folks who are here in Ottumwa don't feel like they've got to go someplace else to have a decent life. We need to make sure that we put some wind at the backs of working men and women and create conditions where if they work hard, they can get ahead. So that's what we're working to do, and that's why we're making the biggest investment in clean energy in our history, creating good middle-class jobs in middle America, jobs that harness the wind and the sun and biofuels and won't be set offshore. That's why we're working with states to raise standards in our schools so our young people can compete in the 21st century economy, and that's why I'm very proud of all the young people who are here at this community college who are doing great work. By the way, that's why we took on the special interest. We finally reformed the student loan system so it works for students and not bankers. Saved us tens of billions of dollars in wasteful spending, and we're reinvesting that money where it should have gone into the first place, and that's to your education. We're making college more affordable, and we're upgrading America's most underappreciated asset, and that's community colleges just like this one. And we're proud to do it. And yes, Ottumwa, that is why we finally passed health reform in America. Reform. You know, I'm proud of it. I'm proud of it. I want you to know right before I came here, we were in Mount Pleasant, Vilsack's old stomping grounds, and we went to Jerry's, right? And I had some pie. It was very good. And so we talked to some of the patrons there, and on the way out, a young woman named Janice came up to me, and she wanted an autograph, and I said I'd be happy to sign something. And we started talking about her circumstances, and she's a homemaker. Her husband is self-employed, a mechanic, I think she said it was. And she was trying to figure, she was so eager to get health care going. She said, you know, I know it takes a few years to get this thing started up, but we need help now because our premiums just went up $700 per month. And, you know, that's who reform was for. You know, so here's what's going to happen this year. Seniors are going to get help paying for their prescription drugs this year. Millions of small business owners, including farmers, will be eligible for tax credits to help insure their employees this year. Parents of children with pre-existing conditions will finally be able to purchase the coverage that they need this year. Insurance companies won't be able to drop you when you get sick this year. By the way, if you're a young person here, you'll be able to stay on your parents' policy till you're 26, starting this year. And in a couple of years, after we've set the whole thing up, millions of families and small business owners, they're going to have more choice, more competition, and they're going to finally be able to purchase quality, affordable care and get a better deal because they're going to be part of a big pool. The reason that it's cheap for federal employees, for example, to get good health insurance is because there are millions of federal employees. So they've got a lot of bargaining power. It forces insurance companies to lower their rates and give them a better deal. Now individuals and small businesses are going to be able to buy into that same kind of pool. And by the way, members of Congress are going to be members of it too, so you know it's a good deal, because they wouldn't have voted for it if they thought it was going to be a bad deal. One last point about health care reform. This represents the biggest deficit reduction plan since the 1990s. Now, there's been a lot of talk about deficits lately, and rightly so. These numbers keep me up at night. But it is ironic that some of the folks who are loudest talking about it are the ones who took a surplus 10 years ago and left a $1.3 trillion deficit on my desk when I took office. Now, I don't know where they were over the last 10 years, why they weren't protesting and all that. But that's fine. I'm the president. The buck stops with me. And we did have to add short-term to the deficit to deal with the economic crisis. All that unemployment benefits, those COBRA extensions, et cetera, that costs money. But we've also taken real concrete steps to address the long-term deficits that loom over our future. Last point I want to make. We are engaged in a debate right now on the need for Wall Street reform. Reform that protects consumers, holds firms accountable, puts an end to taxpayer bailouts once and for all. It's precisely because we didn't have common sense rules on Wall Street that some of these firms could take these huge risks, irresponsible risks that hurt every sector of the economy. As far away as Ottumwa, you were impacted by what they were doing. People on Wall Street, some of them forgot that behind every dollar traded or leveraged or some derivative created, here on Main Street, people are just looking to buy a house or pay for college or open up a business or save for retirement. You can't take irresponsible risks like that. So that's why we need reform. Now, today, for the second time in 24 hours, Senate Republicans unanimously blocked efforts to even begin debating reform. I'm not even asking them to vote for the bill. I just want to let them debate it. And you know, you've learned these Senate rules are complicated. So they won't even let it get on the floor to be debated. It's one thing to oppose reform, but to oppose just even talking about reform in front of the American people and having a legitimate debate, that's not right. The American people deserve an honest debate on this bill. It's been 2 years since the financial crisis became clear. I've been talking about it since 2007. Before the crisis, I said we needed better rules on Wall Street. And you should not have to wait one more day for some of the strongest consumer protections ever. And I'm not going to let this effort fall victim to industry lobbyists who want to weaken it and water it down and kill it and snuff it out and stomp on it and whatever else they want to do to it. We can't let another crisis like this happen again. And we can't have such a short memory that we let them convince us that we don't need to change the status quo on Wall Street. Now, you know, Ottumwa, Washington likes to act like this is all a political game. That's why I want people to spend more time in Ottumwa. Because if folks spent more time out here, they'd see that inaction, obstruction costs people. They'd see that, you know, you don't care which party comes out on top politically in any of this stuff. You just want us to live up to our responsibilities like you do. You're not interested in whether it's a Republican plan or a Democratic plan, or it's... That's what our administration's been trying to do. Now, we haven't been perfect, that's for sure. Michelle could have warned you, I'm not perfect. But I want what I want you to know is that every single thing we are trying to accomplish, every policy we put in place, every day that I go to work, it's about restoring a sense of security for the middle class and renewing the American dream for folks like you, because you're the ones who inspired me to run. Whether you support me or not, it's towns like this and families like yours that I spend my time thinking about. It's that young lady in that letter that I'm working for. You put your trust in me. I don't intend to let you down. And if we can summon resolve together and work together, I know we're going to come through these difficult times, and we are going to emerge stronger and more secure and more ready than ever to write that next great chapter in American history. So thank you very much, Ottumwa. Let me take some questions from you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, little baby.